What's going on, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of my Pirates podcast here on my YouTube channel. Currently, we don't have a name yet. So, in welcome, my name is Nathan. This is my channel. I post baseball content, so if you're used to the baseball content, that is still going to be coming your way on this channel. But I wanted to make a little Pirates-centered type of content now for like a podcast side of things. Maybe we'll make this portion like a separate channel, but being under still like 500 subscribers, kind of just getting your feet under the ground and trying to do this, we're going to keep this all on the same thing. So bear with me as we go through this. So in welcome, hello, thank you for tuning in. If you love the Pirates, it's on the ticker down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I spelled it wrong as it says there, so I'm going to hide that for now. But make sure to subscribe for more. We're going to be talking everything. If you have frustrations, maybe we'll do like hot takes for something. Maybe I'll post something on my Twitter account or here on the YouTube community tab. Maybe we'll have some guests along the way, depending on how this goes. So episode 1, what I wanted to talk about was a kind of frustrating topic since Paul Skeens is starting Philadelphia. The entire aspect of the national media saying, trade him. He deserves better. Trade him. You had Pittsburgh media saying, trade Paul Skeens. Just trade him. They're not going to use him. So that gets me to the question. I don't think a lot of people are asking this question. Rebuilding or retool? What should the Pittsburgh Pirates do right now? The Pirates, at the point of me making this, are 19-36, last place in the NL Central. It is a year of underdevelopment, it seems like. It is a year of guys not living up to standards. Brian Reynolds, for example, not playing good baseball. They signed Tommy Pham to a one-year deal, who personally I was not a fan of, but he has not played up to Tommy Pham standards, and that's saying a lot for Tommy Pham, who has not really been good these last couple years. So they kind of knew what they were signing up for. Jared Triolo, great glove, great personality. He just can't hit. I mean, you weren't really banking on him to do much. Your best hitter as of late, at the time of me making this, has been Adam Frazier. O'Neal Cruz is on fire. Andrew McCutchen's one of the best hitters on the team, you could say. Ke'Bryan Hayes is Ke'Bryan Hayes. He's kind of been what he is since that crazy 2023 end of that year he had. He hasn't been up to that ever since. And it gets to the point with all this pitching you have, the current GM, Ben Cherington, hasn't been able to make an offense that is capable of competing even in the National League Central. Last trade deadline, he acquired Brian De La Cruz, who is currently on his second team since leaving the Pirates and not getting his contract renewed. So that trade went up in smoke. And then he traded for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who honestly hasn't been awful. In my opinion, not a great shortstop. Competent bat, however. I think he's overperforming what many could say for his hitting. The best bat that the GM, Ben Cherington, has brought in, you could argue, is Joey Bart, of all people, who is a kind of just a guy fixing his career, you could say. He was not good with the San Francisco Giants. He gets brought in early last year. I think it was May at the top of my head. And he's been killing it. I mean, it's kind of slowed down since, but a couple weeks ago, he was like batting 300 or so. Now, when it comes to what we want to talk about, so how did we get here? Well, the GM just isn't good at his job. I don't know how else to put it. I think every Pirates fan can argue this. The famous quote that GM Ben Cherington has said many times on his pregame show on the local radio, if you squint hard enough, there's talent. That is practically what he has told the fans, is if you squint hard enough, it's there. If you squint just a little hard enough, everyone, Tommy Pham, I guess, is a talented baseball player. If you squint hard enough, everyone, Jared Triolo could hit 10 home runs. If you squint hard enough, everyone, Brian Reynolds right now should be batting 400. That is what the GM is thinking right now, and he doesn't make any sense, guys. He does not make any freaking sense. I don't get it. I got to keep it clean on this show. So I don't know what is going on, and I don't really know how else to say how do we get here besides the GM being stupid and ownership being bad, because as Pirates fans, we all know that Bob Nutting is not a good owner when it comes to Major League Baseball. He is one of the worst owners in the sport. Literally no one in Pittsburgh likes the guy for what he has done to Pirates baseball. Now I'll say this, it gets to a point where I understand the whole sell the team. Keep saying sell the team. It will change something. He's not selling the team, guys. It sucks to say. It's not happening. So what needs to happen? You need to get rid of a GM that has not been good at his job. How did we get here? The question here is this. They had a choice to sign either Ben Cherington or Ben Arnold about 6 years ago, and Arnold, currently in the Brewers department, has done very good with the Milwaukee Brewers, who are as well a small market team. Ben Cherington, on the other hand, worked with major markets, the Boston Red Sox, where he won a World Series, which I think really wasn't really his team. I hate using that. Besides that, he's been a losing GM. And then the Toronto Blue Jays was his first team. And it's funny to say that he's never been in a small market before the Pirates, and he clearly does not know how to do a small market rebuild. He has clearly messed this all up to where he's only been able to develop pitching or anything. He has been given a gift on a silver platter that is Paul Skeens, and he's not built an offense around him that is capable of winning games when he pitches. The only offensive piece that I'm really excited about that he has drafted literally was last year, and that was Connor Griffin, who on MLB Pipeline is not projected till 2028 to be in the big leagues. You could argue Termarr Johnson, that he was drafted a couple years ago. He's projected to be in the bigs next year. Maybe a year after that. It just depends on how he's doing. Termarr Johnson's kind of a 50-50 guy if you follow up with the minor leagues, which we probably will talk about multiple times on this show in the foreseeable future. Now, in this episode, I'm going to kind of debate, and we could have comments in this comment section if you want to give your opinions down below. But should the Pirates rebuild or retool? Now, first of all, we're going to dive into this like this, kind of do a definition in my own point of view of what I would define rebuilding and retooling as. So let's start here with what is a rebuild. So we all know as Pirates fans what a rebuild is, but for anyone that has never had to endure a rebuild as a baseball fan, for say you are a current Dodgers fan, a current fan of the New York Yankees, even though they were more bad as of recently than the Dodgers, I would say. But those are two teams that those fan bases definitely don't really understand. I don't know why they would need to rebuild. But if you're a Pirates fan, you know what this is. But to explain, it is basically the new GM, which I think, if I forgot to say it, how do we get here? I'm going to say in this scenario or whatever it is, that Ben Cherington is going to be gone after the end of this year. Hopefully by the end of this year, that is. But what is a rebuild? So per se, a new GM will come in and just blow everything up. Start from scratch. The 6 years of Ben Cherington, out the door. You are forgetting about it. You're going to go up to Bob Nutting when you get your job as general manager and say, I'm trading everyone. Can I please trade everyone and just restart? This team is lost. And that is the point of view if you want to rebuild. So who are pieces that would be gone in a foreseeable rebuild if the new GM, or sadly, if Ben Cherington's still here and his standards just wants to blow it all up again, which I think would be cause of his firing on the spot. But per se, a new GM gets in here and says to Bob Nutting, can we please just restart? Fans would hate it. I would hate it because it would suck to sit through for another, 10 years of another fake rebuild for what us fans have known and loved when it comes to Pirates baseball. But who are some names that could be gone with a rebuild? The easy one that would probably get you the most value, and it's hard to say what his value is because it's too much, is Paul Skeens. And I hate to say that. I can't believe I just said that out of my mouth because I had to deal with Paul Skeens, people trying to get him traded rumors literally for the last couple weeks. And it sucks. If a new GM comes here, which I would say hopefully doesn't want to trade Paul Skeens because of what you can build around a Paul Skeens, but per se, a new GM does want to show up and he says, I just want to blow up the entire team, get as many prospects as possible. That's the guy that's going to get them the haul. Will they trade him? I hope not. Will they trade him? I think. No, I don't think he's gone. But if a new GM or a guy who's never done a small market before wants to do this, that's the guy you're going to get the most value out of. You are probably getting, when you look at a team's top 5 prospects, you could argue 1, 2, and 3 at least. Like a team that sticks out in my mind is the Boston Red Sox just because they had the best prospects in all of baseball when it comes to hitting. Is that enough? I hate to say it. I don't think so because Paul Skeens is just that dang good. The more realistic options. Let's get to that though. Mitch Keller. He's on a very affordable contract for a starting pitcher in the league today. It goes up and up and up. If he were a free agent, which I think would have been the end of this year before his extension, he would be making some good money. He would be making more than what he is with his extension. And I don't think a lot of Pirates fans understand that. They say he's really expensive, which I get for Pirates standards, but any team is taking that Mitch Keller Mitch Keller contract, that is, not market, but they are taking his contract off the Pirates books easily. That is such a steal for a guy who on the Pirates is their 2 guy. He's been an opening day starter, but he's currently their number 2 starter. But for any other team, he is going to be a guy that you are going to want on that team. He is going to be a guy you are going to want to build around. He is going to be a very solid 3-4. And imagine a team like the Dodgers is able to trade for him or pick him up in a free agency per se. That's a very elite 5 starter for that type of team standards. Other guys that could be traded, you could argue Brian Reynolds, who any team would love. I know he's starting out very slow, but any team would love what Brian Reynolds can do. He can be a very competent guy. He can give you at least a 250 average or above every year. He'll hit you 25 or more home runs every year. He'll at least be in that 20 home run, 80 RBI range, per se, you could argue, and around that 250 mark. He should give you an OPS also in the 700s or maybe 800s every year. Yeah, that's just the type of player Brian Reynolds is. I understand he is starting out slow, but he is going to be able to fix it by the end of the year. Will they trade him? I think that would be realistic if a new GM comes here. Will he be traded under this current regime? Don't think so. I think the most realistic name to be traded under the Ben Cherington, Travis Williams regime right now probably is Mitch Keller, as much as it pains me to say, because I have my jersey on the wall. You can't see it, but it's like, I don't know how to point from backwards. But yeah. Another name that I want to bring up very briefly would be Ke'Bryan Hayes. Now, Ke'Bryan Hayes hasn't really been able to make it happen with his bat, but when it comes to his glove, any team's going to want that. A team would love that. They would have him probably batting 9th every day. He doesn't have to have the greatest bat. He can just be that very sneaky, kind of have some pop in his bat. We've seen so far this year, a lot of people like to say Ke'Bryan Hayes has been really unlucky. And if you look at his Savant page, you can definitely see some of that as well. When I'm watching the games, I can see it. When I've gone to a couple games, it's like, how did that not drop for Ke'Bryan Hayes? Then he makes a crazy good play, and it kind of just makes up for it. So there's been some times where the defense just kind of just flabbergast you and say, how did he not make that play? But he'll probably still win the Gold Glove every year. And I think probably if a team is smart, they would try to trade for that. Now, it probably wouldn't give you much value in a return because a team might look at that bat and say, well, you're not going to be getting maybe a top 5 prospect for him. Maybe you'll get like our 11th best prospect or our 12th for him. Maybe an 11th and 12th best guy. Now, I don't have values at the top of my head, but that's probably what a team would want for a Ke'Bryan Hayes. Now, is he more realistic to get moved than Brian Reynolds? I think yes. Well, do I think the current GM will move him? No, because he was the first guy that he extended. Now, if the current GM does trade Mitch Keller, it would also be like very annoying because that was probably the biggest extension for a pitcher the Pirates have ever seen. It's below the Brian Reynolds one, but you literally just extended this guy last season. You're already saying, screw it, you're out. So overall rebuild, those are guys that are probably gone. If of those 4 names, maybe Paul Skeens stays. Oh, I completely forgot about the worst option at all that's going to suck. It's going to be O'Neal Cruz. Sadly, probably one of my favorite players on the Pirates as of late. He's been killing it. He's on a over 30-30 pace. I made a video on my channel on a shorts video. I think it was like players that could go 30-30 for the first time ever. He's one of them. O'Neal Cruz is killing it. Any team in baseball would love it. If they don't trust him in the outfield or shortstop, plug him in at DH. He would definitely do it. O'Neal Cruz is another option. He would get them intense trade value. I know Pittsburghers, there's a select few Yinzers on the internet that hate on O'Neal Cruz, and I really don't understand it. They call him lazy. Yes, the guy that's, overperforming Cruz standards right now and is breaking out with the bat right now is lazy. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, rebuild, those are guys that are probably going. What's a retool? Well, this is going to be brief because I want to try to keep this short today. But what is a retool? Well, a retool is going to be a new GM comes in and just looks at what they have and says, you know what? There needs to be a little bit of fixing, but we don't need to just blow this thing all up. You basically are saying we're keeping Paul Skeens, we're keeping Brian Reynolds, we're keeping O'Neal Cruz, we're keeping Ke'Bryan Hayes, and maybe just moving on from a Mitch Keller to get some value back in bats. You don't really need many more pitchers because when I look at the top 10 prospects, that is, of the Pittsburgh Pirates, here's the names. Bubba Chandler, who's expected this year. Connor Griffin, who is a shortstop outfielder, Thomas Harrington, who made an appearance this year, but will probably be back up, that is, by the end of the year. Termar Johnson expected next year. He's in Double-A. Hunter Barco has had some injury issues. He's in Triple-A. However, he's expected next year. He can throw, by the way. He can pitch. Nick York, who Ben Cherington traded Quinn Priester for last year, he's in Triple-A. Made some major league appearances last year. Number 7 is Braxton Ashcraft. As of the making of this video, he made his major league debut yesterday, pitched 3 shutout innings. Wyatt Sanford, who they drafted last year, he is in rookie ball. Levi Sterling, who is also in rookie ball, he was also drafted as of late. And Xander Muth, who is in Single-A, he's a right-handed pitcher. A majority of those guys, only 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, 4 of the 10 are hitting prospects. The next GM, if you are retooling, needs to booster these prospects with guys. If you're retooling, a realistic trade that Pirates fans have been wanting, a trade partner have been dreaming about, has been the Baltimore Orioles. Look at all the hitting prospects they have on that side, and look at all the pitching prospects you have over here. Swap them out. Both teams fix a problem. Maybe you trade Mitch Keller to the Baltimore Orioles, who also are having a very slow start, but who knows what they want to do with all the young talent they have. If you trade them Mitch Keller, you're going to get some bats back. You could maybe get, a lot of Pirates fans like to bring him up. I personally don't see it as a great fit. It would be Heston Kjerstad. Just for an example for this. I don't want to say that's the move. You get him and maybe something else. There's some bats you can plug in because they're not really getting the opportunities that you would want them to get in Baltimore just because it's packed with talent. It just makes sense. Retooling, in my opinion, would be the way to go. I don't think this entire team needs blown up, like a full-on rebuild. I don't think when the next GM gets here, a full-on rebuild doesn't have to happen. I might be stupid in saying that, but honestly, it makes a lot of sense to just do a retool. You have the pieces to build around a Paul Skeens. I hate the argument of people trying to just get Paul Skeens traded now. No one knows what his value is. If you want Paul Skeens traded now, why are you trusting the current GM to do it? That's what I want to ask everyone who's begging for Paul Skeens to be traded, begging for Brian Reynolds or Neil Cruz or Brian Hayes or Mitch Keller to be traded right now. Do you really trust Ben Cherington to do that? Because it's a very good question to ask. But yeah, retool, I think, is the way to go. Because you don't have to blow everything up. You don't have to tell your fans at Pirates Fest next year, if you introduce a new GM there, that you're just blowing it all up and all the players there at Pirates Fest are just going to be on different teams. We all know as Pirates fans, until Bob Nutting opens the checkbooks for like once in his life, besides the Brian Reynolds move and Mitch Keller, you could say, until we see, like, for say, a miracle happen and Paul Skeens is on the team forever and he gets a crazy deal that Bob Nutting has never done, fans are going to probably be expecting this team to be blown up and rebuilt. And it sucks. It really does. What should be done? What's my, I guess, conclusion here as we end this? I vote retool. I really do. A retool is smarter for the Pittsburgh Pirates, especially if a new GM comes in here. This is a great, people bring up the argument, and I hate this one, where people are like, no one would want this job. No one would want to be the GM of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Guys, let me just explain this. There's only 30 of these jobs in Major League Baseball. If you were offered the job of the Pittsburgh Pirates to try to get them to the playoffs and you were looking for a general manager job, you're taking this job just because there's only 30 opportunities. You don't want to, per se, you don't want to work in any other sport. This is the job. Any GM is taking this job, any prospective GM or whoever it is would want this. Because look at what you have. It's behind me. There's 3 names. I guess the one in the middle is basically the one you're looking at, Paul Skeens. You have the chance to work around Paul Skeens. You have a chance to build an offense around Paul Skeens when he's on the mound, because he only pitches every 5 days, guys. You have to have offense. You have to have bats that can play whenever and provide offense when Paul Skeens can't be throwing shutouts every 5 days. You have to have stuff for the other starters, a Mitch Keller, a Bubba Chandler when he's up, a Thomas Harrington if people want to believe in that, maybe Hunter Barco. You already have Bailey Falter shoving right now. Andrew Heaney will probably be gone in the future. I mean, Carmen Majinski wants to be a starter, but he'll probably be in the bullpen. Braxton Ashcraft. All these names, you have all these amazing pitchers. Where's the hitting? Where is it? If you do a retool, You don't have to blow everything up. You don't have to rebuild. A retool, you just have to get some pieces, maybe for one of those guys. More than likely, one of those pitching names I just brought up, probably Mitch Keller, because he is going to get you the most because of that contract value being a steal in today's baseball market. It's a question I don't think a lot of us like to ask, but it needs to be done. If I am voting on if I was the GM of the Pirates and I was given a job for free by Bob Nutting tomorrow, I'm doing a retool. I'm not rebuilding. I know a lot of Pirates fans will say, just blow it up. There's no hope. But you look at what O'Neal Cruz is doing right now with his bat. It's been fun to watch. You look at what Paul Skeens is doing on the mound. It's very fun to watch. If you're Bob Nutting right now and you have Paul Skeens on your team, I don't think you want to trade him because he's making you money. And that's all that it's about when it comes to owners in Major League Baseball. It is about the cash. And who brings in the most cash when it comes to the Pittsburgh Pirates, when it comes to players? Paul Skeens. But yeah, I'm voting retool. But yeah, that is the episode. That is episode 1. Thank you all for watching episode 1. Thank you for listening. Thank you all for tuning in. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more baseball content overall. I'll probably be try to release a video, get back on a schedule maybe once or twice a week. With these Pirates podcasts, however, I think I'm going to do either 1 to 3 a week, maybe every other day, try to do something, maybe talk some prospects one day, maybe talk about what happened in a series another day, or just a basic topic like this. I want to try to get more content like this. If you want to, leave some suggestions down below, some talking points, if you made it this far. But thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more. My name is Nathan. I'll see you next time.